Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the 3.8 Memory of Chaos, aka the final Memory of Chaos before we get the brand new region, has just released. So of course we have to go ahead and try that. Now I did give it a shot with a Castrus team and then a dot team on the second half, but instead of that we're going to be running this same Castrus team on the first half. I would be running Evernight, but because Cocolia has quite a lot of ice resistance and so does this enemy here, instead we're going for the Tribbie variant with Cyrene and Hyacine, and then for the second half we're going to be going for PHAINON alongside Sunday as well as Cerydra, wherever she is, there we go, and then also our Heng PT. So these are the teams we're going to be using, hoping for the best. Hopefully we can actually get all 36 stars this time in MOC and full clear MOC 12 this time. With that being said, let's just hop right into it. Full character builds are E0S0, but full builds will be at the end. With that being said, let's just hop right into it. But real quick, if you don't pull any upcoming Star Rail characters that have the perfect film for you, and that's a sponsor, lootbot.gg. You can use lootbot to top up on your favorite games like Honkai, Star Rail, or Genshin Impact and save up to 25%, along with great value offers like the all-in-one bundle, guaranteed limited and rerun character bundles, and the limited 6,480 generic shots pack that lasts for the first week of the brand new version, and costs only $70 as opposed to the $100 it would in game. If I were to buy the 3,280 generic shards and get double with the top up bonus, all I have to do is enter in my UID, region, and go to top up now, and they typically arrive in less than a minute. Creators like DuckTV and Jello Impact are also collaborating with Lootboss, so they are trustworthy, and they also have thousands of positive reviews on Trustpilot. Also, new users can get 10% off, and returning users can get up to 8% off in the first week of the new version. So be sure to check out Lootbar with the link in the description. Back to the video. Well then, here we are on the first half with our Castoric's team. Well, I say Castoric's team. Actually, no, I was going to say the Remembrance team, but then I remembered we're actually not using Evernight here. Like I said, Cocolia, of course, does have quite a lot of ice resistance, and then this ice... I was about to say Abyss. No, that's Genshin. Was it Void Fragment? Something like that. Whatever it is, yeah, these two both have some pretty hefty ice resistances, so unfortunately we're gonna have to go for a... Well, not unfortunately, I don't mind using Tribbie here. It's also my first time using Cyrene and Tribbie together, now that I think about it, and you know, Tribbie will be useful for making... for the res penetration on Bronya, because she doesn't have quantum weakness, only Cocolia does. So, yeah, overall, should be fine. Anyway, we did get off our first Neverwing there, and now we get a second one off with 100% with all of our buffs up. We have 15 stacks on Cyrene here. We will be able to proc her ultimate during these cycles. A nice 1 million damage there. We love to see it. Go ahead and use our skill there, and then Hyacine into Ika into Tribbie, and after Tribbie takes her turn, once we skill on Cyrene, we'll be able to proc her ult whenever we want, which is nice because we'll refresh our Tribbie stance as well. Luckily the first stance is allowing us to get a second turn on our casters here in the cycle already, so that's actually pretty good for us if I say so myself. This is probably the most optimized we can get this first cycle, at least in terms of gameplay decisions. Normally it all goes down here, goes downhill from here, because in the first cycle I always find the easiest to optimize, and then after that, then, you know, that's when stuff starts getting, you know, a bit out of order. But anyway, we ult here on Hyacine's turn. This basically gives us a turn extension on her ultimate, so we shouldn't run out of her ultimate during the course of this run, at least I hope not. And we, like I said, we will be able to proc Dance as well. We should be able to get a 200% Neverwing here, if I'm not mistaken. Let's just go ahead and proc our Tribbie ult first as well. Okay, yeah, so we have 200%. We need this ult to kill everyone for the 0 cycle. If we don't hit this, then honestly I don't think there's anything else I could have done. One thing I will say is that, kind of like I mentioned before, this Memory of Chaos right now is pretty damn insane. Okay, we don't 0 cycle. Okay, that is going to hurt our clear time decently. Like I said, I don't know what else I could have done. Castoric's has 100% crit rate. We got the perfect amount of Castoric's turns. You know, we had all our buffs up, so I genuinely don't think there was anything I could have done to help that clear, instead of maybe, you know, grabbing like a Castor signature icon. That's all that I could have improved there. Like I said, HP inflation in the last two Memory of Chaos has been kind of crazy. To be fair, the exact same thing happened back in version 2.7 and 2.8 before going into Amphorius. That's when we had all of the HP inflation discussions, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel like history is repeating itself, although this time we kinda aren't having those same discussions. I don't know if it's because interest in Star Rail is a bit down right now, especially after the flagship version getting kinda delayed, or if it's because of just the fact that we're used to it now, so we're just kind of accepting it. But I will say, now that it's happened 2 years in a row, it has kind of hurt my motivation even more when it comes to clearing endgame content. The last Memory of Chaos, we failed by literally 1% HP, and I wasn't able to retry because I just finished it, so I just wasn't bothered enough, and I just never ended up clearing the last Memory of Chaos. It's the first time I haven't cleared Memory of Chaos since 2.1. Even though I could have, I was just not bothered enough because I saw what was happening again, and I think this MOC might end up being the exact same, because what do you mean a team of 4 brand new 5 stars was not able to zero cycle the first half? Like I said, let me know if there's anything better I could have done, but I truly don't think there was, personally speaking. But anyway, you'd hope we'd be able to clear this in. I was looking for 4 cycles. This is probably gonna have to end up being 5 cycles. But yeah, what I will say is I think the largest HP, I think there's been about a jump of like 3 or 4 million in recent HP compared to like the 2.6 and 2.5. The 2.5 one actually had a high single target HP pool because that's where Lygus was, and Lygus had an insane HP pool. But the problem is that Lygus had that damage multiplier, so the longer the battle went on, the more damage you dealt to him, so then he ended up being really easy to kill. I was able to 5-cycle it with Blade, with E0S0 Blade. I was able to kill the Lygus boss, whereas now if I tried to use, I don't even want to imagine trying to use Blade E0S0 into this current Memory of Chaos, so yeah, it seems like HP inflation strikes again. I know a lot of people kind of stopped caring about endgame after HP inflation last year. I'm slowly getting to that point as well. I'm not really that bothered if I don't clear the endgame stuff. The same thing happened to me in Genshin, to be honest, after they made all those restrictions where, if you don't have lunar reactions, then you better pray that you can clear. You probably can't if you don't have any lunar reactions. So yeah, I mean, I started feeling it at first when Natlan came out and the Nightfall mechanics. Then they started doing the lunar stuff in Notcry. After 2 years of that, I got kind of burnt out. Then in Star Rail, now we've had 2 years of power creep just before a new region comes out to force you to pull the brand new characters, and it just makes the characters you've been spending a year building and pulling for just feel useless unless you want to vertically invest, which not everyone wants to do, because some people just want to pull their favorite characters and not have to pull a light cone and E1 stuff like that just to make their favorite characters feel good to play in endgame. So yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure what my pulling plans are for version 4. Of course, we did have the brand new Blade form announced, so I'm definitely gonna have to pull for that. I wish I knew when he was releasing so that I could plan my pulls accordingly. One thing I will say, Elation Path Remembrance at least didn't feel like that much of a cash grab, because they still worked really well with characters outside of their element. Sunday worked very well with Aglaya. Hyacine works really well with Jingliu and Blade, stuff like that. Hyacine revived my favorite character in the game, whereas I'm not sure if Elation's going to be able to do that. We see 2 brand new Elation characters probably going to be kind of tied to each other, so yeah, honestly, I am excited for the story of the upcoming version. I'm really curious to see what they do. Sparkle being back is cool and all, but when it comes to the Elation Path, stuff like that, feels like a bit of a cash grab, so we'll have to wait and see just how much I exactly enjoy the brand new version. But maybe I'm just being a bit too negative too early. Maybe I should be a bit more positive here. Unfortunately, we overcapped that slightly on our new bot generation, but oh well, what can we do? But yeah, let me know just how you feel about endgame right now in Star Rail, as well as how you feel about the upcoming planet. Like I said, I said this last time, but I said that I didn't feel much hype. Maybe that's because there wasn't a live stream and maybe the characters weren't teased yet. I will say I wish the characters were teased more on the live stream instead of them just getting posted kind of randomly. But you know what, it is what it is. At least we got to see some of the new characters, and I will say 2 of the brand new characters look really cool. I will say I'm happy there's a new Blade form, but then again, I need to see the full design of it, because I swear if they just put Blade in red and white, then that feels a bit lazy. I don't know. Like I said, glad that Civil from Blade are getting a bit more attention, but oh well. we'll just have to see the design. I don't want to doom post before I see the final designs. Also, we're getting really close to not 5 cycling here, but we should be fine. I did save this dance proc for the finale for a reason, just because we want Hyacine to go first of all equal to a decent bit of damage, and then also will generate more new blood for us so that we can make sure that our Castress ult does enough here. So yeah, we will be able to 5 cycle, but like I said, 5 cycle on a team with all brand new 5 stars. Cyrene, who of course just came out in 3.7. Castress, who's supposed to be like the strongest DPS of version 3, and here we are only getting 5 cycles just before a new region comes out. So yeah, it feels pretty bad if I say so myself, but oh well, what can we do? I suppose it is time to go ahead and move on to the second half. Now we do have our final team here. Like I mentioned, I did try this with a dot team originally. We got a little bit close, but then in the end we were just lacking a bit more firepower. Maybe the Black Swan, Nova Flare buffs, Nova Flare for Sparkle and Black Swan is definitely exciting. I feel like now I am tempted to pull Sparkle on my ult account, because that's where all the elation stuff will be going on. Although what I will say is that if I need the 2 brand new characters and Sparkle to make a team which feels strong, then I don't know how to feel about that. Maybe I'm just gonna have to end up saving for Blade. Like I said, there's a lot of uncertainty around the upcoming version. I don't want to doom post the upcoming version. I am still excited for it. I'm just pessimistic about what kind of practices they're gonna be doing when the new region comes out. But overall, for the region itself, I am still excited. But what I will say is I am definitely not the happiest with the HP inflation situation repeating itself again. But yeah, other than that, like I said, still excited for the upcoming region. Now let's see just how well our Phainon can do here in the first cycle. We weren't able to 0 cycle with our Castress team the first half. Let's see if we will be able to here. I would hope so. But at the same time, you can never be too sure. So yeah, honestly, but yeah, as I was saying, Nova Flare for Sparkle and Black Swan is exciting, especially for Black Swan, because then again, I feel like it's kind of an admission that, Dot just got revived by Hyacine, but now because of the HP inflation, it needs to get revived again, this time by buffing Black Swan. But at least it's not having to pull a brand new character, so you know what, I guess I'm fine with it. We'll just have to see this time how long Dot will go top of the meta before it has to get buffed again. I don't know what they would do to buff Dot. I guess I guess it would just need a new sustain, I guess. Heng PT and Hua are pretty solid for it, but I guess a dedicated dot sustain would, I guess, elevate the team to the next level. Because I feel like Hyacine, Kafka, Black Swan, they all, especially Black Swan after the Nova Flare, is going to work perfectly well. But next up, the question is, when is it time for Argenti, Dr. Ratio, Ruan, Mei, Jiao, maybe even Acheron, definitely Bootil? When's it their turn to get a Nova Flare? That's what I want to know, because oh my god, does Jiao need it very badly. But yeah, other than that, like I said, I am glad that they're doing Nova Flare. I hope they do it like twice a year. I hope they do it like beginning of the year, although we did only get 2 characters, which is slightly disappointing. So, I would like to see it happen a bit more often. Okay, excuse me there, I did not mean for that to happen, but you know what, that kind of worked perfectly with how we took out the enemy, although I will say, weren't able to 0 cycle there, that's very sad. But on the bright side, at least we're on to the boss fight now. One thing I will say, we're kind of in AoE here, and if you guys know, I have one complaint about Phainon, and that is his damage. His Meteor Strike in AoE feels very unsatisfying, because what do you mean I'm raining meteors down from the sky and I just see like 300k doing like 2% of the boss's HP bar? But yeah, it feels like I'm hitting everyone with a Dunhung basic attack, doing 852 damage when I launch a Meteor Strike into 5 enemies is Phainon. But yeah, my bad. I sound like such a hater today. I'm not gonna lie. I've been hating on the endgame, which to be fair I think is valid. I've been a bit pessimistic, not doom posting. Let's not get it twisted. I am still excited for the upcoming region. Hoping for the best from the Blade XP. Maybe Blade can become the best DPS in the game. Actually, Blade's already the best DPS in the game. What can I mean? Actually, wait. Well, although one thing I will say is that I am a bit sad about the fact that I still haven't managed to get my E1 Blade, and they're already releasing a brand new Blade form. Please, game, just let me enjoy E1 Blade once before the brand new Blade comes out. But honestly, I wish I could have had E1 Blade for Ligus. it would have been so satisfying. I could have probably done like a free cycle or something like that if I had an E1 blade with my Hyacine E0S0, Sunday E0S0, and Tribbie E0S0. But yeah, I guess nowadays if I want to make old blade viable in the upcoming version 4 HP inflation, power creep meta, stuff like that, you'd probably need like an E1, maybe an even an E2 blade for that bit of extra courier, so you can invest more stats into crit damage, and then probably throw in like Sunday probably doesn't need any Eidolons or stuff like that. E1 Tribbie, S1 Hyacine. If you have like an S1 Hyacine, E1 Tribbie, E1 E2 blade, then he'll probably be fine into the upcoming versions. But yeah, before that, then if you don't have those, you're probably only going to be getting use from Blade if you have a brand new Blade XP. Or just be like me and buy a desk mount of Blade, which is very nice. Anyway, we used our basic attack there so that we can launch a Meteor Strike into the boss. I wish we could have a second Meteor Strike here, but unfortunately we won't be able to. I could have gone for an E into a Meteor Strike into an E, but then even if I did that Meteor Strike, I'm not sure if I would have had enough of those points to launch another Meteor Strike. And then second of all, if it's not in AoE, is it even worth it in the first place? I will say I'm definitely more confident in my Castrus gameplay than I am my Phainon gameplay. Phainon Sunday Cerydra honestly isn't my favorite core. I don't like how Cerydra's military merit stacks work. I wish I always got 2 of them per Phainon ultimate, but I get 2 in the first cycle, and then after that I basically only get 1. Honestly, I kind of prefer using Cyrene to Sunday, but then I just have to admit that I'm pretty sure the Sunday team is just stronger, so even though I prefer the gameplay loop of the Cyrene team, it's just not strong enough at E0S0 all units. But yeah, it is crazy that I'm basically running the 2 premium teams of the brand new version, and I'm still struggling to clear here. I will say they are definitely shitting Super Break. This boss, if you don't have Super Break, it is definitely difficult to clear. I think Super Break and a really well invested Phainon with some luck is the only way to clear this boss, E0S0. I probably, I'm not sure. We're moving into the last cycle, but we have to deal 52% HP in basically 2 cycles, or like 1 Phainon ult and then some. Okay, never mind, now it's 61% HP. So yeah, this boss, if you don't have Super Break, or not even if you don't have Super Break, I don't think Rap or Boot will clear this. So I think honestly, if you just don't have Firefly, just fall in a ditch, I think, is what Hoyoverse is saying right now. Honestly, that's how it feels. For the Verse side, I feel like Castrus and Archer are probably the only ones which clear it. E0S0, full team, second half, probably only Firefly, and then if you've got a really well invested Phainon and you play him really optimally, then Phainon can as well. But let me know what teams you guys are using. Like I said, I'm not convinced this is easy to do full E0S0. Which is crazy because most of the year was very easy because, obviously they were shilling the newest characters, stuff like that. I just wish they wouldn't shill the newest characters. I would rather have my Castrus free cycle when... I'd rather my Castrus free cycle when she releases and then finish the version 4 cycling compared to 1 cycling when she releases and then 5 cycling at the end of the version, if that makes sense. I would rather just feel, oh yeah, I have a pretty solid DPS, and then feeling, like, oh yeah, my DPS is still pretty decent when that version ends, and instead of feeling, wow, my DPS is insane when I first picked them up, and then when the version ends, I feel like, oh yeah, my DPS fell off. I need Eidolons to make them more viable. But there we go. We fail the 20 cycles. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and actually I think I've gotten all the yap I want out the way. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and do a few more attempts. I'm gonna reset. If I clear, then you won't be seeing this footage. If I don't clear, then it's onto the character builds and the outro. So I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, well, when it comes to my resets, we actually did get relatively close. I was 5% off clearing in 20 cycles, but then I didn't get it, and then it ended up taking 18 instead because he summoned in his minions and then we did minuscule damage, and then he healed a lot right back up. So yeah, 18 cycles is literally the best I could do with that Phainon team, which, like I said, is kind of crazy when you consider just how many premium units are in that team. But oh well, HP inflation will be HP inflation, and upcoming power creep will be upcoming power creep. That's nothing we can do. Like I said, could I clear it if I reset a couple more times? Yes, but is it worth doing it for 50 Stellar Jades when I know that, honestly, I can't be asked just because it's the same old story over and over again? No, I can't really be asked. So, could I have cleared this Memory of Chaos in the last one if I really wanted to and spent enough time? Yes, but am I bothered enough? No, I already got the point across with this video that I wanted to, so I'm just gonna go ahead and end it here. When it comes to our character builds on Castor's 87 speed, 70 career, which becomes 100 in battle, 174 crit damage, which will become over 300 in battle. S1 of the Gotcha Remembrance Lightcon traces basically maxed out relics on the power set. Double crit, crit damage with crit rate, HP boost with double crit rate here, no crit damage here sadly, but then double crit here, just enough to not overcap. Eidolon's E0. When it comes to Cyrene, we hit the we hit over 6k HP, the 180 speed threshold, the 50 crit rate threshold, and then we do get over 100 crit damage as well for some nice extra damage. Himiko Lightcon, because this is the highest base HP Lightcon on my account, despite the fact that I've been playing since release. No Baidu Lightcon, unfortunately for me. Traces maxed out, Sacredose 2p speed, and then also the Von Wax so that we can get 3 turns in the first cycle, and then Eidolon's E0. When it comes to our Hyacine, we hit the 5k HP threshold, we hit the 200 speed threshold, nearly hit over 100 crit damage as well for an increase to our personal damage, but it's good enough. Also on the Hertastall Lightcon so that we can get that, so we can hit that 200 speed. Traces basically maxed out, and then Warrior Goddess set to give our entire team a bit more crit damage so that they can all contribute a bit more, and then the Giant Tree Planar Element set as well. And then when it comes to our Tribbios, she is right here. There we go, over 5k HP, 88 speed, 42% career, which becomes over 70 in battle, 178 crit damage, which will go up as well, thanks to the bone set and Warrior Goddess buffs like that, so it becomes over 200 in battle. Dance S5 of course. Traces maxed out, Poets at double crit damage, are basically our leftover pieces from Castor's. Maybe we could farm slightly better ones, I don't know. Definitely on the energy rope there, E0 as well, but then again I don't think Tribbie's personal damage is let us down whatsoever. 119 speed on Phainon becomes 139 with Cerydra buff, 82% crit rate becomes 100 in battle after Sunday buff, 190 crit damage, which will become about 390 to 370 crit damage, so close to the 400 range on our Phainon in battle. S5 Fall of a Neon, traces maxed out, and then here we have double crit, speed double crit, crit rate with crit damage, attack boots with crit damage because we already have enough crit rate, and then Ruthless Arena with speed double crit, and then once again speed double crit. Eidolon's E0. When it comes to our Sunday, there we go, from 144 speed, 235 crit damage as well. Bronya Lightcon S1. Traces maxed out basically Sacredose as well so that we can get a bit extra crit damage on our Phainon as well, just getting as much speed and crit damage as we can until breakpoint. Penacony because we don't have a Lusaka for our Sunday, and then Eidolon's E0. But then when it comes to Cerydra, we do have her on Lusaka herself. These are her main stats, these don't really matter as much. S5 of the event Lightcon traces, this is how they're looking. Sacredose as well. And then, well, like I said, we have her on Lusaka as well, and then Eidolon's E0, and then finally our Dunhung PT. Where is he? There we go. 3.2k attack on the Yanqing Lightcon because this is our highest base attack Lightcon on this account. 142 speed as well. Traces basically maxed out. Relics on the brand new Recluse set as well to give our Phainon a bit extra crit damage once again, and then he is also on Penacony, and Phainon will be getting this damage buff as well for himself, and then Eidolon's E0. So yeah, I'd say character's decently well invested. Literally all I could do to clear this Memory of Chaos was either spend like an hour longer trying to do it for 50 more Stellar Jades, or pull a Lightcon on like Phainon or something. Let me know how you guys are currently finding Styral Endgame. With that being said, that's it for me. I'll see you guys next time. See ya.